Hey, Laura J. here, tucked away in my bed tonight, and I just actually read a post that was a screenshot from Jason Christoff's post on September 21st, 2022, which stated that the banking system is a reflection of pirates who used to hide their treasure in the banks along rivers. And then you go to the counter, for she will count your money that you deposit into the banks, where you tell her, to the teller, that you are depositing your gold, your riches, into their banks for them to control. Well, they will keep it safe. And yet, safe is not significant, because that is where we've been trained to focus, while this whole psyop has kept us focused on our lower level needs compared to the higher ones. In that post, what was also significantly concerning to me is the MAID service that is becoming more common, more popular. And the MAID service is actually for assisted suicide. And what we're not talking about publicly so much or popularly yet, but I do believe needs to be considered, is the fact that if we take ourselves out early because of financial circumstances, because of the difficulty in living, because we're going to be pushed until the men and women wearing the suits who are also having harm, loss, and fraud caused to them privately and personally, which is when you're actually acting in the public, but you also have private. So private and personal are different, and then you've got the public, which is different still. And so if the men and women that are acting for the corpse are having harm caused to them for perpetuating these lies by acting as a tell-her for a corpse that's going to steal the funds or freeze the funds in order to control how much access we get, and then we ultimately sell out our fellow man and woman and child who become a man or woman, unless they're the agenda for the non-binary and the trans movement, which is ultimately part of the transhumanism agenda, which is not said to be disrespectful to those who identify with the options that have been created by corpses that give an identity to those who are seeking one. That sounds really harsh and is an entire segue that we'll get into another day. But the reality is that our children are being targeted in this transhumanistic war, where we are being made to be other than we are in order for the war for souls to win. And this is where it goes back to the sin, which is to speak ill of ourselves or others. That what we're dealing with right now with this MAID service is that we are actually considering ourselves trash. We're calling other people trash if they don't fit along the narrative that we believe to be what it means to be good and proper. And so we bash the ones we think that are trash. And then those who have taken on the label, the diagnosis, from those that don't know what they are going through and don't even care, because there are so many power plays and stealing of power between the people, that if you feel like you are weakened and less than, you can just steal power from somebody that has a little bit more, or maybe even less, but you don't care because you just want to take all they've got, which is what pirates do. Well, in this stealing of souls, we have to see the fact that if we buy the diagnoses that if we buy the label that is put on the box that then we try to fit into, because that is what we do with the binary options we are given within a 2D will-less reality that requires we sacrifice what it means to be me, the individual, for the sake of the whole. But then, what does it mean to be me within the whole? And how do I maintain my autonomy without causing harm, loss, or fraud to my fellow man within it? So these are moral questions. And the morality, the moral I tie my identity to is this. If you accept a maid service to take you out because things have got hard, or that you have pain in your body because of suppressed, repressed, compressed, depressed, denied, rejected parts of yourself, which are energies in motion that you have left in a not now moment that shows up with a big dis-ease, the cellular disharmony in the moment when the not nows come into the now to be resolved and come into resolution, where our soul is able to actually go into the revolutions that need to actually become evolutions, that we have to actually bring the not now into the now, and when it shows up as dis-ease, that we need to be able to actually remedy that by facing it and offering ourselves self-acceptance and forgiveness, giving ourselves that which we need even before we understand how indeed we can reincorporate those aspects of ourselves that we didn't like before and are now called to. Well, here, what's more, and this is what is so important to the maid service, is that I would like for you to actually think about if reincarnation were real, which, if you think about it from an energetic perspective, we live in a universe where energy cannot be created nor destroyed, only transmuted and to change its form, right? Which is why within the legal system, which is based on a legal fiction, we are forced to change our substance to fit the forms, to conform our consciousness into buying the BS that would have us shrink in order to fit forms that were made too small in order to have us be uncomfortable when we try to fit into the norm. Okay, so reincarnation, if it is real, and I just want you to consider and play with the idea that it is without that being attached to any faith tradition that would have you have to accept any of the BS, which is belief systems that go with it. The whatever tradition it is that talks about reincarnation, we're not talking about any of that. We're just talking about energy. So I want you to imagine that you have a heart song within you that only you can sing. It doesn't have to be verbally, though that is how we express, but it can be in so many creative ways that only we can actually play with as the co-creators of a reality that we came here to design intentionally. For if we do not create by design, we will create by default. And the default program is a death cult that we do not need to move any further along with, even though it is not our fault that we have went as far as what we have so far. So, if you have a heart song within you for this lifetime, and I have 3 fingers pointing back at me too, so I am in this right with you, and I'm pointing at you because you matter, and I care, and I want you to know that if you choose to take a maid service to take you out of this reality, you get to potentially come back to a reality where you didn't do what you came here to do this time. Right now. Now is all we ever get. In the future, it will be a now moment. In the past, it was a now moment. This now moment, right now, is the only one that you ever get to live. This one where you're listening to me will be the past as soon as it is done. But you are the one that will live in the now unless you let your mind trap you into thinking that you are other than you are, which is where you are when you are, now here, which is also nowhere depending on where we put the space. The space is our will. And we have to still recognize the need to not take the easy way out in this life, or we're going to come back to a reality where we didn't do what we came here to do this time. And then we have to try to exist within a reality where that missing piece is the gap that we fall into unawares, because we don't have the consciousness to know why we fall into a trap that we don't know why it's there, and it's because of what we didn't do in the past, maybe. I want you to think about this, and I want you to feel into this, and I want you to know that I say it with this much conviction because I believe in you. I believe you matter. I believe you are important. I believe you are significant. I believe there is only one you. There only ever has been one you. There only ever will be one you. You are the one that came here to play the heart song that is going to change the world. And you don't have to think about it in the terms of a global stage, because that doesn't even matter. All you need to focus on is your own world. All you need to focus on is the life that you are living, in the now moment where you are in it. For you are present in the present moment. The present moment where you are present to, that now is the new orderly world that you have a chance to bring into order now. You have that opportunity. And if you take a maid service because you listened to somebody call you trash and bash you because they were trying to steal your powerful, because you are so powerful, they need to steal from you like pirates who would have you deposit your treasure into banks that could say, thanks, we're closed. You can't get it out today. No, do not let your soul be what is stole at the end of the day when things change within this reality. You know, I like to rhyme. I hope this message hits you where it needs to, which is in the heart, which is the magnetic force that you are creating worlds with. Your desire is of and to give birth to. That which you have in your heart is what you are here to give birth to. Birth being of admiralty and maritime law. So maybe say, it is here to be born through you, for we must do what it takes to bring that which came to us out through us. We are meant to be rivers, not reservoirs. My friend John Maxwell said that years ago when I was so heavily entrenched in a community and culture that is great, and yet I separated myself from it when I no longer worked for it and had to recreate my identity after 7 years with it in various roles, in positions that we can talk about a different day. But for this one, I just want to say, we must be the reservoir. We must not be the reservoir. We must be the river that actually allows us to bring into this world that which is on our hearts uniquely to do. Our vision, our intuition is the guru within that we must listen to. I'm going to have more about the 5D, 2D split, for I believe that is the shit that we need to be talking about. Because it is the shit that turns into the shift when we let the fear, which is the false evidence appearing real, or false emotion appearing real, actually become the face everything and rise. So, with new eyes, please realize how significant you are to this whole macrocosmic reality and experience on the planetation of planet ET. Plan ET, planet Earth. Please know that there is only one you who can do what you came here to do, and do not let a maid service trick you for stealing your soul when you could be made more whole by not listening to the corporations that would like to incorporate you, fragment you, so that you become the manufactured self. instead of the authentic one that you came here to be. Peace. Blessings. I love you. Please, be who you came here to be, for that is the greatest gift you can give us all. With love, Laura J. Namaste. Namago for today.